Hi friends, you all know about Chandrayaan 3. The satellite is now orbiting Moon, approximately around 1400 kilometers orbit. It's very close to getting into a soft landing approach. In the next 1 week, we are going to see a soft landing approach by Chandrayaan 3 Vikram lander. Now, in the recent times, you would have heard about Russian spacecraft getting into the Moon, that is Luna 25 mission. What is this Luna 25 mission? How is it similar or different from Chandrayaan 3? Let's explore the opportunities and let's explore the spacecraft. Luna 25 is a mission which was continued as a Russian space mission. This is almost after 40 years that Russia is trying to independently land a soft land its spacecraft on Moon. Yes, we all know that Russia, in the form of Soviet Union, had already been successful in landing spacecrafts on Moon, but it's been independently trying to do it with its technology, with its knowledge in the last month. Now, this program, Luna 25, was supposed to be launched a couple of years back, but because of various different reasons, it was postponed, and the spacecraft was launched on 11th of August. Now, it is very close. It is approaching Moon. And this is a fast space spacecraft wherein the technique that is used to launch Luna 25 is a direct lunar orbit. So unlike Chandrayaan 3, where we had to orbit around the Earth, raise the orbital velocity, go on to the higher orbits, and then transfer ourselves into the translunar orbit, and then get onto the lunar orbit, reduce the velocity so that the orbital velocity reduction will cause a lower orbit across the Moon, and then come to a range of 100 meters, 100 kilometers orbit so that soft landing can be attempted. This is for Chandrayaan 3. But whereas Luna is going to directly go on to the moon, spend some time orbiting the moon, like 4 to 5 days, and then attempt a soft landing. Coincidentally, it is also trying to attempt a soft landing in the south portion of the moon. So we have a tug of war or very close fight between Chandrayaan 3 and Luna 25 because they both are almost attempting to land on moon approximately at the same time. As of now, the expectation is Luna 25 is going to land or attempt to soft land on Moon's southern sphere or south pole on 21st of August, whereas Chandrayaan 3 is trying to have a soft landing on 23rd or 24th of August. That's in a span of 1 or 2 days. These two spacecrafts are going to have a soft landing in the untouched part of the moon. As a scientific community, I'm excited for both the missions, and I wish ISRO as well as Russian space mission a grand success in making their spacecraft land on moon and acquire this technology so that it is useful for the mankind as well. So with best wishes to both these organizations, let's explore what does Luna 25 got to do for us. What are the experiments that we're going to have? First of all, Luna 25, the scientific challenges that we're going to potentially look at, what Russia is trying to do is it has to fly itself with to moon. Because it's been almost 40 years that Russia has sent any spacecraft to moon. So this is the first spacecraft after the disintegration as a Soviet Union to independent Russia. This is the first time that they're trying to land a spacecraft to moon or send a spacecraft to moon. So they are trying to revamp on their technology. The second one is they're trying to do a soft landing on moon, southern pole region. And this is an interesting one because it is not just they're trying to do it for the first time after 40 years of a gap, they're also trying to attempt to land in a region where it is going to be a first attempt, so southern polar region. And this is a curious point because if it was anywhere else on moon, we would have been happy. But this is the region where even Indian Chandrayaan 3 is trying to attempt. So in a span of 1 or 2 days, it is going to be a space race saying who landed on the southern pole first. Okay, so we don't know if it was a successful mission, then Russia could be the first one to land in a southern pole on 21st of August. And I'm hoping that we will also be on 23rd, be saying companion hi on 23rd of August. Let's wait for success stories on both these missions. And the other challenges that Luna 25 is doing is to develop a technology which can look at working on the surface of the moon. So how to work on the surface of moon, that's they're independently developing the technology to make sure that they could move around study the materials. Then they're also attempting to see, since the southern pole is going to have lesser energy or a space flight, so it's a lot of experiments that can be done. So the survival of the spacecraft itself, because of the temperature variations on that region, so survival of the spacecraft itself for a lunar night. And for your information, a lunar night is almost 14 days long in Earth days. So for 14 days, it is going to be cold and it almost be like minus 150, 160 degrees. So ensuring that the electronic systems are working in that kind of a temperature and also sustains when it gets to a lunar day, that's the operation that are challenges that are being seen. The next one. The spacecraft Luna 25 is a lander where it just stands on the moon without. This is going to be a 1 year long experiment, though the experiment is going to be on a standstill. It does not have a rover to move around. And this Luna 25 has a scientific research going on a composition and structure of a regolite found nearby. It also has a 1.5 meters long robotic arm that can actually explore the regions 360 degrees around it, and also dig about 6 to 12 centimeters inside the soil, and then test and validate the soil compositions. And the equipments are also present to study the exosphere of the moon. Then there are more experiments that can be done using this mission. So the Luna 25 is also equipped to go ahead and search for water and volatile components in the lunar polar substances, which means it is going to search for proof of water or compositions of water within the soil. That's an interesting experiment. We all know that water is present in different forms on the surface of moon, but this experiment is going to confirm a little more on that. And for your information, Chandrayaan 1 was successfully able to find there was a water component on moon, though it was later confirmed by US spacecraft. The study of elemental and isotropic composition on the surface and upper layer of the polar regalia, this is also going to be the case. So there's a lot of experiments on the soil and the surfaces of the moon. The research on plasma and dust components on the lunar near surface exosphere, that is also going to be studied. So all these things will tell us a lot about its composition, its radiation, the atmospheric turbulence or atmospheric variations at the close to the moon, and it's all of great scientific importance. Next, we are also going to go ahead and study about interactions between the solar wind and the upper layer of regolith. This is going to be helping us understand constant exposure to the solar wind. What is the reactions that are going to take place? These spacecraft Luna 25 is also going to map the surface heterogeneity of the surface so that it can be helpful data for future landing. So you can actually make a decision on where should we exactly land, because the whole moon is completely with grains and soft soil, and you can even sink. If you remember, one of the challenges that I posted on soft landing was this loose soil that could sink as the heavy spacecraft lands on it. We could also study through Luna 25 the physico-mechanical, that is physical and mechanical properties of regolithic surfaces. Okay, so look forward for a lot of experimental things through Luna 25, and this is the spacecraft that is going to land. Hopefully, on 21st of August, they're going to attempt for this soft landing on the southern portion of the moon. And let us wish the Russian space scientists for a successful soft landing. And at the same time, I'm also hoping that ISRO Chandrayaan 3 is going to have a success story on 23rd for all of us to enjoy as well as be proud of. Thank you so much. This is Naveen Nanjundappa. I'll come back with another episode of interesting factors. Hope to see you again.